Good morning and welcome to Walk Before You Run. Today we will look at Judges 14, the story of how Samson gets his Philistine wife. And I want to title it All That Glitters. Sometimes we see things that we think look good and we want it. And we don't think about the warnings that God has already given us about some things in life. Samson was the same way. He saw a beautiful woman, even though he had already been told to marry within his faith, I'm going to call it. But he saw something, wanted it, didn't care uh, what it did or where it came from or the problems that might arise. But let's just take a look at it. Judges 14. Verse 1 says, Now Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. Now the Philistines were their enemies. They were the people who had been oppressing them. But he sees this woman. So he went up and told his father and mother, saying, I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me as a wife. Then his father and mother said to him, Is there no woman among the daughters of your brethren or among all my people that you must go and get a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? Now they worshipped other gods and themselves. And Samson said to his father, Get her from me, for she pleases me well. But his father and mother did not know that it was the Lord, that he was seeking an occasion to move against the Philistines. For at that time the Philistines had dominated over Israel. So Samson went down to Timnah with his father and mother and came to the vineyards of Timnah. Now, to his surprise, a young lion came roaring against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he tore the lion apart as one would have torn apart a young goat, though he had nothing in his hand. But he did not tell his father or mother what he had done. Then he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. After some time, when he returned to get her, he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, a swarm of bees and honey were in the carcass of the lion. He took some of it in his hand and went along eating. When he came to his father and mother, he gave some to them, and they also ate. But he did not tell them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. So I'm going to stop there and just talk about the rest. In the beginning of this narrative, he had asked his father to help him get this woman that he wanted to marry. Even after his father asked him, reconsider, these are uncircumcised people. And that just means that their heart was not pure. Their heart was not turned toward God. Their heart was turned toward other gods and doing whatever they felt they wanted to do. But he didn't listen to his parents. He wanted this woman. And so they went down and they were going to get him this woman to be his wife. Well, they talked to the father, and so this woman is promised to him. He gets ready to go down so that they can have the marriage, and he takes people with him. He invites all these people to go to the marriage, and he poses a question to some of the men that had come, and he said, let me pose a riddle to you. This is in verse 12. If you can correctly solve and explain it to me within the 7 days of the feast, then I will give 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. But if you cannot explain it to me, then you shall give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothing. So he poses the riddle to them, and the riddle was, out of the eater came something to eat. and out of the strong, something sweet. He posed that to them. And what they did, these Philistine gentlemen, they went and told his betrothed to explain it to them and to get Samson to tell her what it was. And he told her at first, no, I'm not going to tell you, but she cried and she wept and she laid upon his shoulder and baby, please. And so he eventually told her, even though he never told anyone, not even his parents. She gives the riddle to the guys, and they were able to tell Samson, now we want your goods. We want the garments and the change that you were talking about. This angered him. He killed them, and he killed someone else to get the garments to give to them. But all this did was put into motion what God already had planned, a plan to destroy the Philistines and to get Israel out from under their hold. But the story of Samson that I wanted to talk about is sometimes we see things in life and we want them because they look good, because they might feel good, smell good, taste good, but everything that glitters is not gold. And sometimes we see some things and they're enticing. We want those things, but we have to pay attention and remember that we're supposed to be doing the work of the Father. And so if some things that we want, we know those things are not in order with the things that He told us to do, we should be willing to let those things go. But sometimes we see something and it looks good and we want it no matter what the cost. Now, all of this fell within God's divine will, but it's just a reminder to us that sometimes we see something, we think we want it, but we need to rethink that thing. But the beauty of God is that sometimes we get ourselves in a jam, but God uses that jam for something bigger than us. So the next time you see something and godly people try to share with you some wisdom, listen, because this is not the last time that Samson's eyes will get him in trouble. Thank you for joining me today. Remember to walk in the Word of God before you run out and do the things that you want to do and those things even that God has for you to do. And remember that you are a blessing. So go out and be a blessing to someone else. Enjoy this beautiful sunshine and the wind that God has put on this earth for us to enjoy.